Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of On Air. That's the online format of the Swiss AI Weeks with Wildcard Media. Today we have Dietmar Schafarzik from Regulatory Thinking with the Power Workshop, AI Reality Check, HealthTech Use and Misuse. This will be the next 45 minutes. You have the possibility to ask questions in the chat. Dietmar will take them up. And I just hand over to you, Dietmar. Have fun.
So thank you for this introduction. And I try to share my slides and to immediately start with this small presentation. This presentation is part one of a mini series out of 3 parts dealing with software as medical device and artificial intelligence functionalities. You will, or I will have a very little small break in the middle of the presentation, and I present here to you a task for you, a kind of a homework, because I promised to the Swiss AI Works, everyone who wants to have a kind of a certificate or a badge for his CV to present to notified bodies or certification bodies. If you are dealing with medical devices, you have to do this small little homework and you get a certification, a badge for this kind of a mini series. And so I try to share my screen right now, and I hope that this will work. And so do you see my slides? Just a simple yes, because I do not see any one of you. Okay, so welcome to the first part of our small mini series. I have entitled this The Misleading Purpose Trap. And of course, this is the beginning of 3 parts. So we are dealing a little bit with both requirements, the requirements that you have to fulfill if you are dealing with software as medical device or medical devices, and the requirements that are on top if you incorporate in your product artificial intelligence functionalities. And so my name is Dietmar Schafarzik. I am a serial entrepreneur in medtech. I am invested in different medical device companies spanning from biotechnology to software as medical device to machine learning. I am a lecturer of regulation and certification at ETH Zurich, and in addition, I am a diploma lead auditor for quality management systems, and I am a lead technical assessor working for some certification and notified bodies. And today I want to start and addressing to you a fact that unfortunately most startups always think that regulation is a kind of a paperwork. But I will tell you, and hopefully I will show you, that regulation is a survival kit. And today, with the first part, I want to show you the difference between success and failure. And this difference is often just a comma in the device descriptions. And we will detect together, like an investigative journalist, like a competent authority, through the lenses of a notified body, why this comma can save life and why this comma can influence your business success. So today's topic is regulation is not a brake. Regulation is a seatbelt of innovation. And we want to understand how one misleading purpose can turn a lifestyle app into a scandal. I have prepared one case for you that we want to unpack together. And hopefully the outcome of this first lesson is regulatory thinking must begin with words, not with code. Regulatory thinking will start with the description of your device. And of course, artificial intelligence adds risk amplification, because every claim about AI functionality can, may, and will trigger medical device regulation, or at least EU AI Act classification. This is very important for you to know. With AI functionalities in your device, you are for sure under one regulation, and this is the EU AI Act classification. And if you have an intended purpose that is dealing with clinical claims, you are under the medical device regulation. So welcome to the misleading purpose trap. It is not what it seemed. And I want to prepare or to present you a case of an app, a lifestyle app dealing with fertility management. And we want to have a look what this app is and what the legal manufacturer claims about it. And so please remember this kind of a picture. On the left-hand side, you have a screenshot of a software, an app, a lifestyle app dealing with fertility management. And on the right-hand side, you have the idea of the marketing employees of this company that started a marketing campaign where they state 100% reliable contraception. And we want to detect how reality fits with the advertising claim, or if it creates a regulatory trap. So remember this kind of this picture, and we start directly and investigate the device on the table, this fertility management app. It is a lifestyle tracker, some visualizations, and clearly consumer label. But with this shiny poster, the marketing people decided to market this as 100% reliable contraception, and this is a medical claim, period. The device did not change, but the marketing changed the claim and made a clinical claim for the device. And you have to know, for AI tools, the gap between a wellness assistant or a clinical advisor is only one sentence: 100% reliable contraception. But regulators classify on the intended purpose, on the words, not on the code, not on the features. This is very, very important to know. And so let's unpack this lifestyle reality of this fertile management app. What do we have? We have some harmless features, some hydration tips, some mood logging, some cycle tracking. Clearly not a medical purpose. And so this product is not under the medical device regulation, no compliance burden at all. It is safe in the consumer market as a lifestyle product without a medical claim. But even lifestyle apps that integrate artificial intelligence can drift into a software as medical device and fall under the medical device regulation if outputs are interpreted as health decisions. The perception by the users matters. So what happened next? The marketing people decided a complete campaign for their lifestyle app and promoted this with the claim, finally worry-free sex powered by AI. Other claims have been made, such as safer than the pill, smarter than a condom. And I think you see what will be the problem, because these claims, safer than a pill, smarter than a condom, are completely in the world of advertising fantasy. 100% reliable contraception, safer than a pill, are clearly medical claims. And a claim of medical effect brings this software to a software as medical device and therefore under the medical device regulation. And so the marketing words of the marketing people reclassify the product without changing the product, without changing the evidence and the technical documentation of the product. And this is the problem. And especially also for AI-driven apps, marketing hypes that we can read so often, such as AI diagnosis or AI therapy, triggers with the word diagnosis or therapy the regulator, the competent authorities, and it accelerates regulatory scrutiny. Regulators require evidence for every claim. So you have to provide evidence, clinical evidence, that your software app is safer than the pill, meaning you have to prove by percentage that the software app is better than the pill. Or if you claim 100% reliable contraception, you have to prove clinically this 100%. And if you end up with 99.9%, you are out of the scope and you have a big regulatory problem. So be aware and be a little bit afraid of marketing language and marketing wording. So let's put this device on the autopsy table. Let's do an autopsy check. Let's check reality versus claim. And if we do this, we will see that the gap between features and claim always ends up with regulatory failure. And you always have to know the medical device regulation classification is determined by claims, not by code, not by functionalities, by claims and by the intended purpose. And the mismatch between reality and claims, this mismatch is where liability is born. And AI systems also often fail because evidence is limited to technical performance. But technical performance is what we regulators say this is preclinical evidence. This is an important evidence, but it is preclinical. But at the end, if you claim medical claims, you have to show clinical validation. You have to show clinical evidence. And so regulators demand clinical evidence aligned to the claim. You claim safer than the pill? Show me your clinical evidence. You claim 100%? Show me that it is really and exactly 100%, not 99, not 98, 100, or don't claim it. This case, unfortunately, is a case out of reality. We are in Stockholm. We are in the dark winter months last year, and you see a pregnancy test on a sink, and you will see the beginning of a scandal. What happened? Dozens of unintended pregnancies. And this adverse event, the pregnancy, is seen as an adverse event when the medical device claims 100% and safer than the pill. Then a pregnancy is an adverse event, and this adverse event triggered regulatory intervention. Because you always have to know clinical harm, and here a pregnancy is a clinical harm because the user used the app because they have been told it is smarter than a condom. Clinical harm is the ultimative tipper point and trigger point for regulatory intervention. And adverse events, especially from artificial intelligence functionalities, are often harder to detect than adverse events related to an implant. An implant, if it breaks, you will see it. But adverse events from AI are often silent until impact is severe. Dozens of unintended pregnancies. And so continuous monitoring is especially essential for software as medical device incorporating artificial intelligence functionalities. So maybe we can also explain what happened. The misleading intent and purpose led to a misclassification. And so let's be on court or before court and examine what happens, and let's try to explain this kind of a trap. As I have said, misleading intent and purpose led to misclassification. Wrong claims led to wrong evidence and resulted to wrong risk controls, because it is all depending on each other. You have a claim, you have to show evidence for the claim, and the claim triggers also your risk control activities. If you have a clinical claim with your product, then you must be aware that you are under the medical device regulation. And here the starting point is Annex 8, of the medical device regulation, where the medical device regulation gives the classification rules for medical devices, and especially the Rule 11 governs software as medical device with or without artificial intelligence functionalities. And something that is also often overseen is that Annex 1, the general safety and performance requirements that are defined in the medical device regulations, are mandatory for every medical device, software or implant or equipment, with AI, without AI, because these general safety and performance requirements are dealing with the safety and performance of the device. And of course, if you have artificial intelligence functionalities incorporated, you are, in addition to the medical device regulation, under the observation of the EU AI Act. And so you have to fulfill some additional high-risk obligations. Happy you. And so high-risk AI triggers explainability. Yeah, you must be able to explain the hidden algorithm not only to the regulator, not only to the health tech professional, but also to the patient in a lay person's language. And believe me, this is a task. Explain in a lay person's language the algorithms behind your AI. You have to take care about data governance. You have to take care about overall human oversight. You must invest in post-market monitoring. And if you are non-compliant in one of these requirements, your product will be banned, period. So with this case, this fertility management app, the scandal in Stockholm, the decision of the marketing people to claim clinical claims for a lifestyle app, what went wrong? So maybe we can start a kind of an investigative breakdown. So let's see what happened. There is clearly a claim inflation. Yeah? The claim, the product description changed from fertility awareness, which is a kind of a lifestyle claim, to contraception, which is a clinical claim. And why this claim, or because this claim switched or was modified, unintended, yeah, by the wording and the language of the marketing people, because this claim was switched to a clinical claim, the company had an evidence gap, because all the studies have not been aligned with the claims. And because the studies have not been aligned with the claims, they have a blind spot in the risk management, because they have not done any assessment to address unintended pregnancy risks. And you remember, dozens of unintended pregnancies in one month in Stockholm. And what also could be detected is a kind of a misunderstanding of usability engineering at the company's side, because the testing, which was a kind of a play around or play with, it was everything but not a clinical validation. So the clinical testing, let's phrase it that way, was done in a clinical setting, and they ignored the fact that this kind of an app is not used in a clinical environment. It is used by the patient, by the user at home. And so this test was done, or the product was validated, really in quotation marks, in tidy clinics and failed in messy homes. And so for AI systems, in addition, data leakage or spurious correlations, which are non-causal correlation, false correlations, or coincidental correlations, are invisible risks. And risk management must include AI-specific failure modes in addition to the normal risks related to the intended purpose of the medical device. This is also very important to know. And so we come to this short break, I have prepared for you a kind of an interactive task. You will be asked to rewrite a purpose statement so that it is compliant. In our case, the purpose statement of this fertility app was: this app provides safe and reliable contraception by calculating fertile days. This is too broad. This is not precise. This is not exact. Then the purpose statement was changed to: this app supports fertility awareness by tracking cycles and predicting fertile windows. You must remember, they want to stay or to reclassify again as a lifestyle app. And so you see here, no clinical claim is made. This app supports fertility awareness. Awareness is no clinical claim by tracking cycles and predicting fertile windows. No trigger word like diagnosis, therapy, or monitoring was used. And so we can ask, can this statement pass the first smell check? I would say yes. And now it comes to your interactive task. We have prepared for you some cases. You can scan this QR code and get to your task, and it does not need a lot of time investment from your side. I think you can do this in half an hour. And please remember, you will get a certificate if you have followed me in all the 3 parts of AI dealing with software as medical device. So take the chance. It's for your CV. It's an official badge. It's an official certificate. If you want to get it, please scan this QR code. So advertising break is over. We go back to our case. Can we learn some practical guidance here?
Sorry,
Can we?
is it okay to ask a question or make a comment at this point?
I would like to stop, because then I see how many time we have left, and then we can start a kind of a discussion. Okay?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Fine.
Okay. So can we learn some do's and don'ts, and can we have some practical guidelines? Of course, don't claim 100% reliable contraception, or don't claim any clinical claim if you don't have clinical evidence. And on the other hand, be precise, aligned with your product description, and try, or not try, have safe functionalities. This is very, very important for all medical devices, but especially also for software as medical device dealing with artificial intelligence. And so the do's and don'ts are, I think, very clear. Be precise, align the claim with the evidence you have, and define the limits. These are the do's. And on the other hand side, don't overpromise. 100%. Hey, it's really hard to get the clinical evidence for a claim as this. And if you say safer than the pill, you have to show superiority of your app against the pill. It's maybe also not the easiest way. So don't overpromise. Don't use marketing in intended purpose. So don't use marketing language in your device description, and don't ignore the scope. Add do's and don'ts if you are dealing with AI. A do is here: document all the data sets you have used in training, for example. Explain the outputs, validate in real world use. If it is an app for home use, validate it in a home use environment, not in a clinic. If you do it in a clinic, it's a major nonconformity. And add some don'ts. Don't claim general intelligence or clinical superiority without evidence, only because you are artificial intelligence. Although you are artificial intelligence, you have to show the evidence. And so the key principles are: be precise, be aligned, be safe. And always remember, the purpose statement is a kind of a legal contract. It defines the classification. It defines the evidence requirements. It defines liability exposure. And for AI, you have to add: the intended purpose statement defines the transparency obligations, because regulators expect traceability of datasets, algorithms, and updates. Yeah? No black box. We want to see traceability of all this stuff and documents. And what I have presented here with the case of this fertility management app, we can see, believe me, parallels in all health tech or med tech areas. There's a pattern of recognition. This trap repeats across different domains. Some example, there are some wellness apps or wellness chatbot that are perceived as clinical tool, medical device. There was a sleep app marketed as sleep therapy, the trigger word for medical device. And there was a diet app claimed diabetes treatment, trigger word for medical device. And so the pattern is always the same. You have a misleading purpose that leads to a misclassification that leads to regulation failures. And AI is especially vulnerable. User interpretation often exceeds the intended use because the user think, oh, this is artificial intelligence. I can believe 100% on this. So interpretation often exceeds intended use. And the guardrails, your disclaimers, your design, your UX, yes, of course, this is part of your compliance. But believe me, not often read or followed by the user. And so this is also a big issue if you are dealing with software as medical device and artificial intelligence functionalities. And one word to the regulations that are mandatory for you to follow. If you have a clinical claim, you are under the medical device regulation. Even if you have no clinical claim, you are under the EU AI Act if you have AI functionalities. If you have a clinical claim and AI functionalities happy you are under the medical device regulation and under the EU AI Act, and you have to know both regulations are horizontal regulations. And so the EU AI Act incorporates some obligations for high risk artificial intelligence, for example, continuous risk management, data governance, transparency, and explainability of all the algorithm, and the need for post-market monitoring. And you will see there are some matches because this kind of things are also required by the medical device regulation, but you have to prepare for both regulations. So have this in mind. And if you add AI to your software as medical device, you add also dual compliance. You are under the medical device regulation and under the EU AI Act. And manufacturers must design systems that satisfy both the safety aspects related to the medical device regulation and AI governance related to the EU AI Act. And so, what do we learn? We learn purpose is power. Define the right purpose or prepare for a scandal. It's so easy like this. Purpose is power. Purpose is the beginning of your marketing strategy. The purpose is the beginning of your business strategy. The purpose is the beginning of your regulation pathway and your certification strategy. And so my call to action is, if you are dealing with medical devices, maybe incorporated with AI functionalities, get the purpose right or prepare for the scandal. Always remember, one sentence can decide your regulatory destiny, and regulatory thinking is the survival training, and it's not a paperwork. By the way, regulatory thinking is taught and trained at the HEST, the medical department from ETH Zurich. And for AI and software as medical device, you can claim purpose precision is existential. Yeah? Every AI claim must map to validated evidence. And by the way, also the libraries or the data sets you used must be qualified, monitored, and validated. These are really, really mandatory regulatory obligations, and we often see that these requirements are not addressed exactly in the technical documentation. And so the last 3 sentences: don't be afraid of the medical device regulation and friends. Friends are the various ISO standards and norms. Always think that the regulatory compliance is your seat belt, because it prevents the crash landing of your product at the end and the success of your company. Here again, if someone has missed the QR code for your homework and your badge, you have the possibility to scan it once again, and maybe you want to decode the black box before it decides for you. Transparency in AI is decoding the black box. If you don't, believe me, regulators, investors, and patients will decide against you, period. And also the case of Stockholm, the company really struggles 1 year after with trust from the patient side. There was burned so much trust, you don't believe this, all because of a marketing decision. And so thank you. I hope that I am on time and that we have the time for a short conversation and a discussion. I have written in the last semester a small reader, a small booklet called The Evolution of Regulation, a story written in clinical failures when devices learn, the AI challenge. If you are interested in this reader, you also have on the left-hand side a QR code. Scanning the QR code will initiate an email to my ETH address, and I will send you the reader. And if you want, follow me on LinkedIn and stay in contact with me. Thank you very much for being here. And so we can maybe try to start a discussion. I look at the chat right now if there are some questions here.
Sorry, I think it's easier if I phrase it orally, because typing could be a bit lengthy.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Is it possible for you to go back to the slide where you have the comparison of what was the primary marketing statement and then the revised corrected version?
Oh, I hope. I really had always problems with sharing the slides, but I think it may work. So you see the slides again?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, this one. So I'm a regulatory affairs professional for the last 20 years, and first of all, I would like to thank you for really emphasizing the importance of regulation, and that it's a make or break for the businesses, and it really should not be underestimated. But it's also an asset because it guides you, and if you check all the boxes, you're protected by that. I would actually make the case that the second statement is still potentially can be seen as a medical claim, because fertility is a physiological function of the body, and if you're claiming to predict when you're fertile and when you're not, it's a prediction of the physiological condition of the body. So in that case, I would think that the claim would still require you to be a class 1 medical device and have your documentation in place per the MDR regulation. So it's not just that you have to be aligned with your evidence, you have to have the documentation in place and the EU certification in place as a class 1 medical device to be safe. At least that would be my advice for
I totally agree with you. Yeah, I have not went more into depth with these two claims. These two claims are made by the company because this kind of task will be also the task for the audience who want to get a badge. And that's why I said in the cloud, I didn't say now the claim is perfect. I said, can this statement pass the first smell check? And the first smell check goes in the right direction. But of course, if you have trigger words in there that really direct in the direction of clinical health and something like this, and fertility is absolutely something like this, I completely agree with your remark. I completely agree. This is still not safe.
Thank you.
But it smells a little bit better.
Oh, definitely, yes, of course.
So I close the share sliding, or is there any other question that where I have to go to some slides again? If not, I close the presentation. Okay. So any
Could you
other
just share
questions?
also? Could you share the LinkedIn? As I'm following from the mobile, I was not able to scan the QR code.
Ah, okay. Then I share once again. 1 second.
Yeah, but I mean not the QR code, but the actual link that I can tap on the link, because I'm following from a smartphone, so I cannot scan. I cannot scan because I'm already using the smartphone to follow the presentation.
I
have copied that link to the chat already.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
If you scroll up a little bit, it's a Google Docs form.
Yeah, that's the form for the exercise, right? But,
yeah.
But not for the texts. The second QR code.
So maybe 2 short words for the upcoming event. The next small presentation is on Monday. Yeah, also on lunchtime, and the second and the third.
I think you got muted there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted.
Excuse me. Sorry, but there's some questions actually in the chat that I would be gracious if you would answer. I think it would be great.
Okay. Can you read it to me? The EU AI Act applied to the EU. Does the EU AI Act apply to Switzerland? Okay. So can you read the question to me if possible?
Yeah. Sorry, I see that Ezra has asked, would you be able to navigate us to how regulatory thinking can be used to increase the market value of a healthcare application? And then someone asked about entrepreneurship, but yeah, the one that I was curious about was, I think Michelle, who was like, does the EU AI Act apply to Switzerland? And I think it would be great if you could explain that, maybe if people are confused a little bit.
Yeah. It's a little bit difficult for the moment because Switzerland always has a kind of a special role. It's not completely under the EU regulations. It's the same with the medical device regulation, and so the EU AI Act does not completely apply to Switzerland. But what we have seen, the principles that are laid down, Switzerland is following. So Switzerland claims, or Swissmedic claims, that they don't follow the medical device regulation. But if you look at all the laws, they are 95% based on the EU MDR. And so I would advise everyone really to read through this EU AI Act and to apply it intelligent. What does this mean? In the US, for example, you have a regulation, FDA regulation, that is for health tech products, for medical devices. And then you have, if you are dealing with software as medical device or with artificial intelligence, you have in addition some vertical requirements in addition to the medical regulation. This is something different in the EU, and as it can be seen, Switzerland will follow this kind of the approach. In the EU, both regulations are horizontal regulations. So the EU AI Act is not a vertical add-on to the medical device regulation. The EU AI Act deals with requirements for every kind of product. Let it be a coffee machine or a car or whatever that has AI functionalities. This is under the EU AI Act. So you really are servant of two regulations, the medical device regulation and the EU AI Act. And what I would advise is really to start with a kind of a gap analysis. What is the difference between EU AI Act and the medical device regulations? What are really add-ons in the medical device regulation? Because a lot of the requirements you also can or you also will fulfill with your work according to the medical device regulation. And then it is only a question of referencing or documentation, but it is not doubling the work. So make yourself aware. There will be the same principles incorporated in Switzerland, I believe.
I think one difference is that you don't have notified bodies in Switzerland.
Yes.
I think it's Swissmedic does it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's actually
you have to deal,
kind of a good thing.
Yes and yes and no. The principles of notified body is indeed something that is a very weak point. US regulation also does not know this principle, because US regulation is also the government defines the rules and regulations, and the government checks the regulations. The other FDA inspector is an FDA inspector, and it's the same at Swissmedic. Swissmedic defines rules and regulations, and Swissmedic acts as the competent authority. You have to deal with one person. In the EU or in Germany is you have the legislation that defines the regulation, and you have privately held companies, like TÜV Süd or BSI or whatever, that checks the conformity. And this is often a pain in the ass. I totally agree. Although I am working for notified bodies. Okay.
Can we just confirm that it's the market where the product is commercialized that defines whether MDR applies or not? So unless you're only commercializing in Switzerland, right, to users in Switzerland, you would, you could have a company in Switzerland, but as long as you start selling in Europe, then the MDR would apply, correct?
Yes, and if you start selling in Europe and you are not a European-based company, you also have to have the representative. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are; it's where you sell.
Yes.
Isn't that actually a problem when it comes to software as a medical device? Because distribution is not as clear-cut as for physical distribution of a medical device, right? It could actually be available in markets that you did not intend. I'm not sure what happens in this case.
Yeah, the regulators are also not sure how to observe and monitor this, but the rules and the regulation completely apply the same. By the way, it's the same. If you want to sell your product in Switzerland and you are not a Swiss-based legal manufacturer, you have to hire a Swiss representative. This is also mandatory the other way round. if you are not in the EU countries and want to sell in EU countries under the medical device regulation, you have to assign an EU rep, and the same with Switzerland, you have to hire a CH, a Swiss rep. Okay, I hope maybe we see us again on Monday. Then we also can continue, and also on Monday I have prepared a case for you so that we really work on real world evidence, real world failures. Okay.
Hello. Before we wrap up, actually, I would like to highlight my question. Just
And
1 minute.
Ezra, may I interrupt you? We are at the top of the hour. Please do the questions offline. You have the contacts, and we would wrap up this webinar. With
Yes.
a big thank you to Dietmar. Super
Thanks a lot.
interesting insights.
Excellent.
Very relevant. And thanks for joining, and see you all soon.
Okay, perfect. Bye-bye.